is this more challenging than it's worth? And so maybe it looks great on paper, but when you start to look at how much effort and time it's really going to take, and that all equates to risk, is it worth it for you to pursue? And sometimes the answer is no. And I think most of the time the answer should be no.
So being a seasoned real estate developer here in Miami, you've looked at endless deals, but you've only built so many buildings start to finish. I'm curious on what is the pass rate when you underwrite the deal and then decide to actually move forward with it?
Something I learned from my old boss was that the more deals that you try to do, the more people you have to hire, and then you're having to feed the beast. And you don't want to get into that cycle where you have a high amount of overhead and you're doing deals just because your corporate structure requires it. And so being highly selective about your deals helps you pick the right opportunities for you and for your investors to actually invest your time on. And I think just reflecting back on how many different deals we looked at NRI over the course of a year or two, because development really comes in waves where you work really hard to get over a certain milestone, and then you get a little bit of time to look at the next opportunities, where we looked at probably 110, 115 deals, something like that, over the course of a year. And so we were looking at them all the time. And that's not just we get something in our inbox and we pass on it. It's like we took the time, we looked at the market, we looked at the comps, and we decided, does this make sense for us to pursue or not? And our mantra actually was get to know quickly. So the more efficiently that we could turn down opportunities, the faster we thought that we could find the good ones.
Similar to how you had me do the 30-minute underwriting, just back of the envelope. Let's see if this will make any sense financially first.
And so some of them that hit our inbox, I don't count those because we're just able to immediately reject them. But we now have in place a system that I developed while I was in your position of doing a first pass at a quick underwrite, and then a second level when you have a little bit more to go on, and then a third where you're really starting to build out a full pro forma and see, does it make sense? And then I would say even like number 4 is you've got real due diligence and things happening as opposed to just strictly the financial side.
A big component is financing. Another one is time. Is there any other random pieces that may kill a deal that just randomly come up from experience?
So some of the other things that can kill deals, and I've seen actually kill deals that I've worked on, are political situations that you don't really see from a due diligence. If you hire your environmental report, you do all the things that are on everybody's checklist online. That doesn't tell you whether the politician at literally the level of Congress is going to come weigh in on whether you're able to do your project or not. And that does happen. And so you can have these external factors that you don't see at a first pass. And it's not until you really start engaging with the project and moving through the process that you see those things start to happen and try to figure out what the landscape is. And beyond that, there are things like the environmental factors or more typical zoning approvals that you would want to look at and say, is this more challenging than it's worth? And so maybe it looks great on paper, but when you start to look at how much effort and time it's really going to take, and that all equates to risk, is it worth it for you to pursue? And sometimes the answer is no. And I think most of the time the answer should be no.
Yeah. And then for some of those projects that you looked at and then moved forward with, for example, the Lifetime building in Coral Gables, was there a moment where you almost could have turned back, where it was like, all right, we're either going to burn the ships, right, and fully move forward on the project, or completely back off?
With that one in particular, there was not a deal killer moment necessarily. There were major challenges that we encountered, and we redesigned the whole building, I don't know, dozens of times. Our construction guy was livid often because of that. But ultimately, we had an amazing project that did very well for the investors. It sold to Hines for $430 million. And so we went through a lot of different iterations, a lot of different challenges, but as a lot of those things came up, they were unknown and unforeseeable until we got really far into the path. And it was just like, you have to overcome.
Absolutely. The waves of development, like you always talk about.